living in a small apartment in Seattle. I was a barista at a cozy coffee shop downtown, the kind with mismatched mugs and indie playlists. My days were pretty routine. Wake up at 6 a.m., jog around the block if the rain held off, grab a quick shower, then head to work for the morning rush. Afternoons were for online classes. I was studying graphic design, and evenings meant chilling with Netflix or chatting with my roommate, Sarah. She worked nights as a nurse, so I often had the place to myself. Life felt normal, predictable but good. But looking back, even in those early days, something always felt a tiny bit off. Like, the air in the apartment had this weird heaviness sometimes, especially when I was alone. I'd catch myself glancing over my shoulder in the hallway, even though it was just a short walk from the elevator to our door. The building was old, with creaky floors and flickering lights in the lobby, but that wasn't unusual for Seattle rentals. Still, there were these small details that nagged at me. For instance, the neighbor across the hall, an older guy named Mr. Harlan, would give me this long, unblinking stare whenever we passed each other. Not a friendly nod, just eyes locked on me like he was memorizing my face. I'd smile awkwardly and hurry inside, telling myself he was just lonely or eccentric. And then there were the odd feelings during my jogs. The streets were usually busy with dog walkers and commuters, but some mornings, it'd be strangely silent. No birds chirping, no cars humming by, just this thick quiet that made my skin prickle. I'd shake it off as paranoia from watching too many true crime docs, but it stuck with me. One evening, after a long shift, I came home exhausted. Sarah was at work, so I microwaved some leftovers and settled on the couch. The window overlooked a narrow alley, and I liked keeping the curtains open for the city lights. But that night, as I ate, I noticed the alley seemed darker than usual. No street lamp glow, just shadows. I leaned closer to the glass, squinting, and that's when I saw it. A figure standing at the end of the alley, perfectly still. It was too far to make out details, but they were facing my window. My heart skipped a beat. Was it a homeless person? A neighbor smoking? I watched for a minute and they didn't move. Not even a shift in weight. Then, as if sensing me, the figure tilted their head slightly. I yanked the curtains shut, laughing it off nervously. Probably nothing, I muttered to myself. But as I tried to focus on my show, I couldn't shake the curiosity and the chill that made me wonder who or what was out there watching. Okay, if you're still with me after part 1, things get weirder here. After that night with the figure in the alley, I tried to brush it off. But the strange stuff started piling up, and it built this tension that I couldn't ignore. A few days later, during my jog, I felt eyes on me again. I glanced around and spotted a man on the opposite sidewalk, walking parallel to me. He was average-looking, tall, dark jacket, baseball cap pulled low, but he kept pace exactly with mine. When I sped up, so did he. When I crossed the street, he mirrored me. My pulse quickened, but I told myself it was coincidence. I ducked into a corner store for a water break, and when I came out, he was gone. Relieved, I headed home, but that uneasy knot in my stomach stayed. Then the calls started. Unknown number, no voicemail, just ringing at odd hours, like 3 a.m. or right after I got off work. I'd answer, and there'd be silence on the other end, maybe faint breathing. Hello? Who is this? To say, but nothing. I blocked the number, but it came from different ones. Sarah thought it was telemarketers or a prank, but it felt personal. One time, I heard a whisper, just my name, Emily, drawn out slow. I hung up shaking. Around the same time, I started getting weird messages on my phone. Not texts, but through social media. Anonymous accounts with no profile pics, sending things like, "Nice jog today," or "That blue mug at work suits you." How did they know? I hadn't posted about my routine. I showed my boss at the coffee shop, but he shrugged it off. Probably a customer with a crush. Blocking. My friends said the same. You're overthinking, Em. It's the city, creeps everywhere. But the footsteps were what really ramped up my fear. One night, walking home from class, I heard them behind me. Steady, matching my steps. I turned, and there was that same man from the jog, about a block back, hands in pockets, staring. I picked up speed, heart pounding, and so did the footsteps. I darted into a crowded cafe, pretending to order, and when I peeked out, he was lingering across the street, watching the door. I called Sarah to pick me up, tears in my eyes. "You're paranoid from those calls," she said when she arrived. "Let's get a security camera for the apartment." We did, but it didn't help much. The staring continued. I'd see him outside the coffee shop window during shifts, just standing there. Customers noticed me glancing out nervously, but no one else seemed bothered. It all peaked one evening when I got home. There was a note slipped under the door. "I know where you live. Sweet dreams, Emily." My blood ran cold. It was handwritten, messy scrawl with my address scribbled at the bottom. How? The door was locked, hallway secure. I called the police, but they said without proof of threat, it was just harassment. "Change your locks. Be careful." That night, as I lay in bed, I heard a soft knock on the door, 3 slow taps. Sarah was asleep, so I froze, listening. Then a scratch like nails on wood. The danger felt so close, like he was right there, inches away through the door. I didn't sleep, clutching my phone, wondering if he'd try the handle next. This is the part that still gives me nightmares. The night everything exploded into pure terror. It was a Friday about a week after the note. Sarah was on a double shift, so I was alone again. I'd been extra cautious. No jogs, Uber to work, curtains always drawn. But that evening I felt a false sense of security. I ordered takeout, dimmed the lights, and put on a movie to distract myself. Around 10 p.m., the rain started pounding outside, typical Seattle weather, masking other sounds. I paused the TV to grab a drink from the kitchen when I heard it. A faint creak from the hallway floorboards outside the door. Our building was old, but that creak was deliberate, like someone shifting weight. My heart jumped into my throat. I tiptoed to the peephole, breathing shallow. Nothing, just the empty hall. But then, a shadow flickered under the door, blocking the light from the corridor. Someone was standing right there. I backed away slowly, hands shaking, grabbing my phone to dial 911. Before I could, the doorknob rattled, soft at first, then harder, like testing if it was locked. It was, thank God, but the sound echoed in my chest. "Go away," I whispered, yelled, but my voice cracked. The rattling stopped, and silence fell, heavier than the rain. I pressed my ear to the door, listening. Nothing. Then a low scrape against the wood, like a knife or key dragging down it. My breaths came in short gasps. I could feel my pulse in my ears. I retreated to the living room, eyes glued to the door. The window, oh no, the alley window. I hadn't checked it. Creeping over, I peeked through a slit in the curtains. The rain blurred everything, but there he was. The man, soaked, standing in the alley, staring up at my window. His face was pale under the cap, eyes fixed like black holes. He raised a hand, pointing right at me. I yelped, dropping the curtain, and stumbled back. That's when the power flickered once, twice, then out. Darkness swallowed the room, only the storm's flashes lighting it up. My phone's screen glowed as I fumbled for the flashlight. A thud against the window, something hitting the glass. I spun, seeing a shadow outside, hands pressing against it, trying to pry it open. The lock held, but the frame groaned. Panic surged. I ran to the bedroom, locking that door too, hiding under the bed like a kid. Heart hammering, breaths ragged. I clutched a lamp as a weapon. Shadows danced from lightning, and I heard footsteps now. Inside? No, the fire escape outside the bedroom window clanged. He was climbing up. Slow, metallic steps, one by one. Closer. The window rattled, wind howling. I bit my lip to stifle sobs, shaking uncontrollably. What if he broke the glass? What next? The clanging stopped, silence again. Then, a whisper through the crack. "Emily? Open up." My blood froze. I stayed still, praying. Minutes dragged like hours. Sirens wailed in the distance. Maybe someone called? The whispers stopped. More silence. Peeking out finally, the shadow was gone. I waited till dawn, barricaded, before creeping out. The window was smudged with handprints, but he had vanished. I escaped that night, barely, but how? Why did he stop? After that horrifying night, everything changed. I called the police as soon as the sun rose, sobbing into the phone. They came, took statements, dusted for prints on the window and door. The handprints matched nothing in their database, and the security cam footage showed a blurry figure in the hall, but his face was hidden. Stalker case, they said. We'll patrol more, but stay vigilant. I told my boss at the coffee shop I couldn't work there anymore, not with him knowing my routine. He understood. I quit that week. Sarah and I moved out immediately, crashing with her parents until we found a new place across town, with better security and no alleys. My family flew in from Oregon, worried sick. Mom hovered, Dad installed alarms everywhere. I started therapy too, talking through the trauma. The police never caught him. Leads went cold. No more calls or notes, but I wondered if he just got smarter. I've changed so much since then. I'm more careful now, paranoid, really. I don't jog alone, always carry pepper spray, and check locks 3 times before bed. Crowds make me scan faces, looking for that cap or stare. I avoid social media, deleted old accounts. Nights are the worst. Every creak or shadow sends my heart racing. I sleep with lights on, jumping at rain sounds. Friends say I'm healing, but the fear lingers, like a scar. This made me isolate. Dating? No way. Trusting strangers? Forget it. I even switched majors to something remote, working from home now as a freelancer. Life goes on, but it's dimmer, always tinted with that unease. Then, last month, something creepy happened again. I was at a grocery store, mundane errand, when my phone buzzed. An unknown text. Missed you, Emily. No more, just that. I blocked it, but my hands shook scanning the aisles. Was he there? Later, walking to my car, I heard faint footsteps echoing mine. But when I turned, no one. Just an empty lot. Felt too familiar, like he never really left. The police dismissed it as coincidence, but I know better. It suggests this nightmare might not be over. He's still out there, watching, waiting.